think we're live now. This is Chris from C&L Farms and Honest Sawdust. Honest Sawdust is my new channel for some woodworking that I do on the side. It's just a hobby channel. It's just to show information about how to build small projects that are useful within the shop. But today, this is a little bit of a farming or a top 7 type picks for seeds to plant in August. There's a number of things that you can plant. This is by far not the only list, but it's the perfect time. The weather's starting to change in a lot of areas. You still have at least 60 days until the first frost date for most areas in the U.S. I'm in Georgia, so it's probably going to be late October or November before we see any significant frost or any type of frost for that matter. I don't know the date. I haven't even checked it. Typically, it doesn't really bother me because I just get some of these in the ground in August, and I realize it is a little bit late in August to be doing some of these things, but there is still time. So I'm going to give it a shot. But I just want to go through, these there's 6 or 7 different items that you can plant in August uh, that are still considered summer seeds or summer plants or a summer crop rather. It's really up to you what you want to plant and what area that you have available to plant. A lot of these seeds can just be, snuck in between other existing plants that are getting close to end of life, and you're going to pull those out. So, but you can do whatever you want. Do it whatever way you want. For me, I've got 2 beds here, and I'll show those in just a minute, that are in front of my workshop, and I'm just going to be planting, some of these crops today, and just show you, what kind of things that you can put in August that will grow well. So one of those top things that I think is perfect for 60 to 75 days before the first frost are beans, pole beans, bush beans, anything that you have room for. If you want to trellis them, definitely put, pole beans in. They have typically 60, 65, 70 days, before you start getting beans. But in most areas, you still have time. If you don't, and you don't want to do that, that's fine. Pick something else that works for you. I don't have any bush beans. I've already planted everything that I had, and I haven't purchased any new seeds this year, so I'm not going to plant any of those right now. But number 2 on the list are carrots. Carrots, they may not be ready before your first frost, but they are cold tolerant, so or frost tolerant, so they probably will be just fine through the frost that you may have, and they'll just grow a little slower as the temperatures go down and you have a little less sunlight. Um, Another one, number 3 to plant right now are beets. Beets can be, snuck in between other plants, just little clumps, 2 or 3 seeds. Typically, beet seeds have, like I have some red ace, round red beets, but the beet seed, it actually has, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look at the seeds, there's actually more than one seed or plant per beet seed, and it's kind of hard. I can't really show it to you, but they do put out more than one plant per seed. So you put 2 or 3 of those seeds in the soil somewhere in a little area, and you'll get 4, 5, 6 beets typically that come up. And as long as you don't plant them too thick in that area, they should have plenty of room to grow into a decent sized beet that you can harvest later and eat. Um, a good thing to make with fresh beets, if you are into fermentation or you're into the fermented foods, is a beet kvass. It's a really good probiotic drink. Once you ferment the diced up beets, um, but it's perfect for, gut health and to really help with things like that. So I really recommend, anything that's going to make you healthy, anything that's going to be good for you and fresh tasting is a beet kvass. It's really good. Another number four, it's still you still have time to plant cucumber. So you can plant those on a trellis and they can grow right up the trellis. Or you can plant them on, and just let them run along the ground, run along the top of your beds. Just keep an eye on them, and so you know where the cucumbers are. But I think those are perfect for, um, this time of year. There's a lot less pests, a lot less diseases that you have to deal with the cooler it gets. And you typically have time to get some fresh cucumbers late in the season from those plants before the frost kills them. Because typically cucumbers are going to die back when the frost hits. Same thing with tomatoes. Tomatoes is another thing that you can plant right now. I'm not going to plant any of this late. I still have a number of plants that are doing just fine. I am going to trim them back quite a bit, so it'll spur some new growth. Um, but another thing, if you are looking for some herbs, some fresh herbs, dill is, it still has time to grow if you want fresh dill, especially if you're going to get some cucumbers and you want to add some fresh dill and make some quick pickles or something like that. And of course, as soon as I get started with this, somebody starts cutting trees down around me. Awesome. But if you really want the dill seeds, then you have to wait for that dill plant to go to seed, and it may not have time to do that before the frost possibly kills it back. But at least you'll get some fresh dill out of it for the short time that you have. Another thing that you can plant right now, and it's perfect because the pests are low right now, are zucchini. Um, I don't really plant squash this late, but zucchini is another plant that is quick to grow, and you can get within 60 days you can get quite a bit of zucchini, especially if you pick them when they're small and young, which they're the best tasting at that point. Yellow squash is not something that I would plant right now, or uh, well, just anything that's any yellow type squash. I just wouldn't plant right now. Now, the last thing that I have on the list, and it's number seven, but you can sub in other things if you don't want these. But radishes are perfect. You can typically get a harvest of radishes within 30 to 40 days. And as the temperatures go down, it takes a little bit longer to get them. But you can plant radishes, at least twice, in August and in September, and at least have radishes up till your first frost date in most areas. So I would definitely plant radishes. French breakfast is the absolute, it's top notch for me. I love the French breakfast, but any of the radishes are fine. So, whatever makes you happy, whatever works for you. But I'm going to go ahead and get these planted. I'm not going to do it on the live, but I just wanted to, introduce myself and talk for a few minutes about this channel and, where I see it going. Hopefully, it's hard at full-time job. It's hard for me to get out there and make videos all the time and keep up with what people are looking for. I've done a number of things over the years with my farm and with my businesses that I had here with the commercial kitchen and everything. Um, but it's hard. It's really hard. This is not my career. This is just something that I do for fun, and I want people to at least learn something from what I'm doing here. And if you don't learn anything, that's great. That's fine. Maybe there's some entertainment value. I'm not the most entertaining person. I'm not going to sing and dance up here. But I am going to at least be honest with you about what you can do on, a small homestead or just a really small farm, or just, if you live in an apartment and you have a patio, but, in a balcony that gets a little bit of sunlight. Even if it doesn't get sunlight, you can put lights out there for the plants, but you can still grow anywhere. You can grow in a pot, you can grow in a grow bag, you can grow, in cups, for that matter. Just make sure they drain, so they don't you know, let the roots sit in water and, you know, possibly kill the plants. Unless you're doing an aquaponics type system, you know, plants and a lot of water don't really mix that well. Um, but you know, this channel, you know, I'm going to be doing some woodworking videos, and you know, they're just going to be simple projects, small projects that you can do that can help you in the shop. It might be something that you could sell to somebody. You know, I don't know. It just depends on what I have time to build, what I have time to film. I'm not going to make any promises. I'm just going to do what I can. You know, so this is not my normal format and doing a live or doing, you know, vlogs or anything like that. Um, I just don't typically do that. But I did want to at least give you some things that you can do right now in your garden if you have a garden, and you know, talk about myself for a few minutes. So I appreciate it. You know, if you like the content, you want to, you know, keep watching the content and seeing when I post new videos. You know, like, subscribe, do all the things that, you know, everybody asks you for. Sometimes they ask you at the beginning of the video. Sometimes they ask you at the end. I ask at the end typically, um, because if you like it, you know, at least I want to remind you, hey, before you go, you know, check me out. But I'm going to, you know, stop the live. It was just going to be a short live. It wasn't going to be something that lasted forever, but it will be posted shortly up on the channel, and you can watch the whole thing if you missed any of it. So I appreciate it. This is Chris from C&L Farm and Honest Sawdust, and I hope to see you guys again. Thanks.